this is like good for us in the same way that like running is good for us or that meditation is good for us. This is like a form of thinking that you should let yourself have access to and not just put it up on a shelf of like only some people can do this.
Hello and welcome to The Book Drop, Omaha Public Library's podcast about books, our community, and the joy of reading. I'm Maggie Peterson. I'm the Outreach Manager for Omaha Public Library, and I'm joined as always by
Amy Ballard, the Partnerships Manager for Omaha Public Library.
We're once again in a deeply serious room for some deeply unserious people, and I'm still so intimidated by our podcast. It's not like in a bad way. I feel like this is so nice.
I know, it really is.
I'm used to being in a broom closet like Harry Potter. And
I sometimes miss our broom closet.
I do kind of. Our haunted little broom closet.
I know.
I have no segue for this. I was going to say, speaking of, we have a special guest today.
We do. I'm so excited.
Special guest. Who are you?
Hi, my name is Megan Simonich. I'm a library specialist at the downtown branch of the Omaha Public Library.
Yeah. And you're here.
I am here. Yeah.
We're delighted.
Yeah.
Wait.
What are we talking about today?
Well, first, before we talk about what we're going to talk about, Bachelorette season got canceled.
Yeah.
And I made a lot of people talk about it at work.
So is it canceled
against their will? No, my understanding it's just that they filmed an entire season and just didn't air it. Megan, are you familiar with the drama?
I am not familiar with this drama. I definitely have friends who like watch The Bachelorette.
Okay.
Same.
See,
why are they pulling it?
So I don't even watch The Bachelorette, but I watch the show that the new Bachelorette is on. There's so much lore that is going into this, but it was Taylor Frankie Paul, who is from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which is a piece de resistance of the modern reality show era. If you're not watching, what are you doing? Anyway, one of our senior leadership members is very into The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and then another member of the senior leadership is Amy and I, our boss, but is like very good friends with this other member of senior leadership. Amy and I had a meeting with our boss right after the news dropped, and I basically went into her office, was like, breaking news, Taylor Frankie Paul. And then we proceeded. I had to tell her all about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and Mom Talk and a lot of other things that I did not expect to ever tell my boss about. Like,
well, I learned as well.
We all learned a lot that day. It was a wild time. But then that other member of senior leadership who was in The Bachelorette went to go like say something to our boss and was very excited that she already knew and like could actually talk to her about it.
It is exciting.
It was
a proud moment.
It was a public service I offered that day.
It's exciting to be in the know.
It really is. It really
is.
Yeah. We love that breaking news. I am an undercover garbage person. Although I say that, I don't think I'm that undercover about it because I'm pretty vocal about it. I love Real Housewives. I love...
It was the first thing that we started talking about. So it's like...
Yeah,
I love it.
Love to see it.
It's I could do my own TED Talk about why the Real Housewives is one of the most important pieces of media. I
don't watch reality TV shows, but I do really like hearing people explain. Because it's like there's so much lore happening here. Yeah, this is like 18 levels deep. I need like one of those those like fantasy compendiums they have at the front of like those doorstopper fantasy books. Yeah, like with the family trees and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot to dig through. Yeah, because there's a lot of reality TV that I don't specifically watch, but I know a lot about for those reasons. I listen to a couple podcasts that will do the deep. I'm like, and I'm never going to watch a single episode, but I do want them to very funnily tell me everything that's going on in there.
A 5-hour video essay. You've never heard about
Jenny
before.
Nicholson.
Yeah, it's very,
Star Wars Hotel-esque style.
Yeah, that's how I feel about all of the romance reality shows.
Do you know about the Jenny Nicholson Star Wars video? It's like 4 hours long, and it's about the Star Wars hotel in Disneyland that costs like $6,000 a night. And it closed almost immediately after that video started getting traction online. Did she cause it to close? Who knows? She has a very powerful voice in the video essay community.
We're powerful too.
Yeah. Thanks, Amy. That was very empowering. That felt good. Well, I do love reality shows which don't require any writing, but you know what does require writing? are the reading challenge that we're going to talk about today.
Writers.
You're welcome for that shoehorned in little segue. It's a reading challenge episode, guys. So if you are following along at home, Amy and I dedicate one episode every month to the reading challenge, which is done every year by Omaha Public Library. We source these from our staff members of different themes to help you kind of maybe expand your horizons throughout the year. So each month we're picking a different challenge to read through. We're reading them out of order this year. We're kind of plugging them in certain months that feel like it might be more in home. So you can read in order, you can read them out of order. We're doing a little bit out of order. And I think we picked doing this challenge, which is read a book about writers or writing. Is this National Writers Month? Is April National Writers Month?
It's Poetry Month.
It's Poetry Month. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So we kind of felt like it was at home in here. And so we invited Megan to come on because Megan was the staff member who submitted this as the reading challenge. So thank you for being part of that process, first of all.
Yeah.
Before we get too deep into the topic, I do want to just talk about like who you are. So can you tell us a little bit about you and like your role at OPL? How did you get here?
Good question. So I started at OPL, like I think a little under 3 years ago. I started as a part-time specialist at the downtown branch, and I worked there for about 2 years, and then I transferred to the Washington branch for about 9 months, and then I applied and got promoted to a full-time specialist, and now I'm back at the downtown branch.
Yeah.
And it's fun. I like my job a lot.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
How did you find your way to OPL? What was your background like?
Yeah. I think I had the pretty standard like undergraduate experience of getting to my senior year and being like, I actually don't know what I want to do.
I think that's almost everybody.
Decided that I would like I thought that libraries would be something that I would be interested in working in. So I worked for a year as an elementary school librarian with Omaha Public Schools. And then I decided that I think my like passion / just like disposition is more well suited towards like public libraries. So I switched to that. And then that's how I got here.
We're so grateful.
Thank you.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do love to poach people from other industries.
If I'm being honest, it's a very chill job compared to teaching. Like,
I have to imagine.
Which is a high bar. Yeah. But also it's a good job. It's just like
it's just different.
It's different.
My sister-in-law is a first or second grade teacher, but I commend anybody who can have the energy for teaching. Like, it's all day. Did you know it's all day?
That's the thing.
They have really them all day.
Yeah. I was when I went to graduate school, I went to get my master's in library and information science at Louisiana State University. And as part of like I had an assistantship, but I only had it for a semester, and it was to help a teacher. I have never been so tired in my entire life. And I have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
They wore me down.
Yeah. I commend anybody who's teaching.
Children just have infinite energy.
They do. I know. I appreciate all the teachers in the
really
world.
Cool, but like they don't run out of energy. Ever.
No, they're like how cows have multiple stomachs.
Yeah.
Like they have multiple pockets where they can store energy. Yeah. And just when you think they're out, they have another energy pocket.
Yeah. In this grade school that I helped, this teacher also had these cafeteria rolls, which were literally exactly the cafeteria rolls, yeast rolls. So delicious.
Oh, I love a yeast roll.
Growing up in West Virginia. So, yeah, and I loved it. I could smell them right now.
Do you ever do those Sister Schubert's? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
What? Sister Schubert's rolls?
What?
Oh my God. Okay, you can get them in the freezer section. Sister Schubert's. It's a yeast roll. They're frozen. They taste unbelievable.
Seriously?
They taste so good.
Okay.
You've been listening to Real Talk on Book Talk. So tell us about the reading challenge. What kind of inspired you to think of this challenge?
Yeah, I'm super curious about that too.
So I fully forgot that I had submitted this challenge.
Okay, you're 100%.
But I like saw it and I was like 100%. That does sound like something I would submit. So I can backtrack and figure out why I would have submitted it.
So I have to tell you, we are now sitting at 100%. This is our third time we've invited the person on to talk about their challenge, and 100% of the people that have come on have said, I don't remember doing it, but it sounds like something I would have done.
It sounds like something I would have done. I like tracks. Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't remember anything I've done like a year ago at this point. Like,
or last week.
It's gone. But based on what I know about myself, I bet I would have submitted it because... I mean, I think the really basic reason is that I really like writing, but I also think like the broader, when I'm looking at it, not just as like what would I as Megan like to read, and like the writing challenge, like why I would think it would be a good reading challenge more broadly, is because I do believe that like having a writing practice is really beneficial for like anyone who wants to have one. And I feel like we have a conception of writing as this like thing that
it's
only
precious.
like these like special, weird, savant geniuses.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Brainiacs.
I feel like I don't.
But like we have this as like a weirdo genius.
Yeah.
Thing, and it's just like, no, this is just like a thing that humans can do. It's like just a good thing to do if you want to do it. So I think having it be a little bit less intimidating is really important.
Yeah.
And what do you write? Essays, poems?
I mainly write like science fiction and fantasy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's like the main thing that I like. I very occasionally will write like essays or stuff that's not science fiction and fantasy. But like, I don't know. It's usually I'm like, it's more interesting if it has some dragons or spaceships in it. Like I can write about the real world, but also what if they stuck other stuff in there?
Were you always a writer? Were you doing that as a kid, or was like kind of like later?
I think so. I mean, I think I've always been really, really into stories and storytelling. I'd have to ask my mom. I know she would like type up my the stories that I was like writing when I was like, like 6 or whatever, like onto the computer, which is so sweet.
Cute.
Which is very nice of her. It's like writing stuff about like dogs versus cats and like a big dog versus cats war. I think that was like the first story.
It was like warrior cats, but
it was like warrior cats,
like an interspecies.
It was
battle.
Yeah. Which that makes it sound like more consistent than it was probably. Like that's but that's no, I think so. I mean, I definitely haven't always had a consistent like writing practice. That's something that I feel like I've developed like more recently. But I've always wanted to write, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you write daily?
I do, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you belong to like a writer's group too to help get feedback?
There's a few that I like, and I won't be able to remember what they are, but if I can like, could I like send them to you after the podcast so that you can?
Sure.
Yeah.
So for like
we'll put those in our show notes
for the local ones in Omaha. Because there are a few, and those have been really cool and supportive when I've gone, but I honestly don't attend very regularly. A lot of them meet on Saturdays, and so it's just hard with like if I'm working or if I'm not working, I'm usually doing stuff. But I also have like some online groups that I like meet with like over Zoom.
I love that. So lots
really
of different ways. Yeah.
There's lots of different ways.
Yeah.
I do think having like even if it's not an in-person writing group, just having other people who are trying to do the same thing that you're doing can be really encouraging.
Sure.
But it doesn't have to be like if you if you're like me and you work on weekends and most of the writing groups meet on weekends, you don't have to be like, well, I can't make this work, so therefore I just can't be part of a writing group. Like there are other ways to do it.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm curious with you, Maggie. I will say, I mean, I haven't gone through all the reading challenges, but this one was a challenge for me.
Oh,
mostly
huge.
Because what you just said, that like people put this idea of round writing up on a shelf, and that like most people can't attain it or do it or be part of that. And I'm so glad that you said, no, everybody can. Let's invite yourself in. Yeah.
No, I think it's really like I'm trying to figure out a way to express this more eloquently, but I'll just say I think it's really bad that us as a society are like, yes, basic creative expression, that's for special people who are special. And I'm like, what if we're mammals and we like to play and writing's a form of play? Yeah. And maybe just we should all be able to do it if we want to. And it's like a form of like, I think part of the reason that we teach writing as one of our like literacy skills or whatever is both because it's like it's important for kids to be able to write, but it's also because it's like that physical, the combination of the physical and the like mental skills. It's like a different way of thinking.
Yeah, it really
like
is.
Unlocks a different mode of thinking. And so like even if you don't want to write like fantasy novels or whatever, although you can if you want to. I think anyone can if they want to. But if you don't want to do that, if you're like, that sounds crazy and weird, why would I do that? Like, it can still be cool to have a writing practice. You can still get benefits out of it, even if you're not producing something for someone else to read.
Yeah.
It can be a good thing for you to just have for yourself.
Yeah.
That was going to be one of my questions is, what do you do with what you've written? I mean, do you sit down with the intention of like, I'm writing this and I'm going to submit it as a book, or it's just like, I have an idea and I just want to get it out and just see where it takes me?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think like you kind of have to hold multiple truths in your head at the same time when you're starting down for a first draft, especially, which is like, I think the first thing you have to know is that no one is going to see this thing. Like the first draft is just like,
give yourself that freedom.
It's like, however messy you think it is, it's going to be more messy than that. It's like wild. It's just, it's great. But also, and like, just like knowing that that's just like straight up how it's going to be. Like, there's no way to like no matter how many, like, as much as I love this reading challenge, no matter how many craft books you read, you're not going to be able to, like, mind palace your way out of having a messy first draft.
Right.
It's just the situation. And I think you can, I guess for me, because now I'm getting more broad, but I think for me, I think at some point I am writing my fiction with the goal that at some point I'd like to have an audience for it. I don't know what that's going to like look like, you know? But I also like am writing it with the goal, like with the knowledge that like that's really far off right now from just depending on where the project is at.
Right.
Like if I have a short story and it's more polished, then I do try to submit it to like places and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's like, I think when you're thinking of an audience, it can be paralyzing to imagine that too early in the process.
Right.
But it can also be a useful tool for thinking of revision and thinking of like, what do you want this to be if you're actually imagining someone else reading it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of like, what would I want to give if I was giving this to someone? What kind of experience would I want them to have with it?
Right.
Is kind of part of the process. But also, again, when you're first like just like genuinely getting a word on the page, like it's very important and useful to be like, no one is going to see this but me. Like this does not need to be good, and in fact, it probably can't be. Like the first draft, it's just not going to be.
Yeah.
Wow. This is going to sound so reductive, but it is what is coming to mind for me. So my kid is really into the Dogman series right now.
Yeah.
And he wrote a special like edition of a Dogman of Cat Kid, who is like one of these side characters, but the Cat Kid makes a comic club and he's teaching all of these sentient tadpoles how to draw their own comics. And at one point gives them the instruction of like, make something bad because they were getting really stuck. And is like, just literally get it out. If it's bad, it's bad. But actually everything they came up with was great because they kind of gave themselves the freedom to just get anything out there.
Yeah.
And kind of just shows it's like, I mean, the wrong answer it feels like is to keep it inside.
Right.
So if you're not doing that, then you're doing it right.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I don't think it is reductive actually. I think that is genuinely the situation. Like, like there's just like multiple levels to it. And like some people don't like sometimes my writing friends will yell at me when I call my first drafts like, are we allowed to swear? Should I say?
Go ahead.
Cool. When I say like a shitty first draft, they're like, it's not shitty. It's just like part of the process. And I'm like, okay, sure. I didn't like decide on my main character's pronouns till halfway through the novel, and that's annoying. And I can call it shitty if I want to.
Right.
Also, it's true. Like whatever it is, like it depends how you want to think about it. But like I think for me on a very basic level, just looking at it and be like, you are not going to be producing something that looks like the things you're consuming. And that's not only like, that's like however you want to feel about it. Like just knowing that is what the situation is. And like, you need to be bad at something before you can be good at something.
Oh, that's a great point.
Just like, also it's intrinsic. I feel like it is intrinsically valuable to create art at all. Right. Regardless of like the quality of it. It's just like, it's like exercise is just a good thing to do for your body.
Yes.
Like, writing and making art is just good for your it's good for your like brain or soul or whatever. And then also like especially with writing, like it's such an iterative process that I think it's really important to like it's like not fair to yourself or your writing to expect a first draft to look like a polished draft. Right. It's like it's asking it to be something that it shouldn't, you know. And like it isn't necessarily, I guess, I guess maybe that's why my writing friends yell at me for calling it bad or whatever. But like, sometimes I think
it could be hard to apply that same advice though to yourself. That it's like you can believe it for other people, but then when you have to do it for you to give yourself that grace, it's like, oh, but wait, no, I'm the exception. I have to do it good.
I mean, I also think like writing people have so many associations with it. Like most of us, I think for most people, most of the writing they did was probably for school.
Absolutely.
Where you're literally being graded on like how good it is.
Yeah.
And like, or it's for work where it's like you actually do have to communicate in a really specific way, like to get your point across, you know? And so it can be hard to like switch out of that mode of thinking when you're doing it for yourself. It can be hard to let go of that like perfectionism or like judging yourself. Like, and just like, or turning off like the analytical mind or like however you want to call it. But
wow.
Yeah.
All good points.
Yeah.
So, like, to kind of crystallize that, like, what do you hope people get out of this challenge?
I think I hope that people, first of all, like, if you genuinely don't have an interest in writing, you don't have to, I'll just say that, like, as a disclaimer. There's a ton of fun fiction books that I'll, like, recommend later.
Yeah.
Like, you can just, like, you know, do not pass go. Don't try this weird hobby. Just, like, read something fun.
Yeah.
Super valid.
Yeah.
But I think I would also encourage people to say, like, this can be a really valuable thing in your life, regardless of what you want the end product to be with it. Like if this is a creative expression that you've wanted to try for a long time, like you should do it. It's good. It's good for you. So it's like fun. And you can like, it's not like a magical skill that some people get. It's just like, it's like anything else. Like you can get better at it by doing it. And it's a concrete thing that you can learn how to do. And again, even not talking about better and worse or skilled and less skilled, this is an intrinsically valuable activity. This is like good for us in the same way that like running is good for us or that meditation is good for us. This is like a form of thinking that you should let yourself have access to. And not just put it up on a shelf of like, only some people can do this. It's like, that's very silly. And that's bad that we think that way. It's like, and I feel the same way about like painting or anything else. But like, especially with writing, 'cause that's the thing that I think I'm more passionate about. Just like, you should let yourself do this because it's a good thing.
Yeah.
That was not super crystallized. That was pretty ramble.
No, that was pretty good.
But I feel inspired now to actually.
Accessible to anybody.
Yeah.
However that looks.
Yeah. It's something that anybody can do and something that I think most people would benefit from doing.
You've inspired me.
Thank you.
I'm very passionate about writing.
So speaking of some of those books, what kind of books did you recommend for this challenge?
So for me, what I'm looking for from a writing craft book is like, number one, I do want concrete applicable tools.
Yeah.
Like I love it when writers just talking about their own life and their process and stuff, but I also I am going there to get better at this thing. So I want stuff that I can apply right away and that's easy to apply. I feel like kindness is very important for me. I think people have different preferences for their teaching styles. Like a lot of people seem to like the tough love, like you have to write 2,000 words a day or else Stephen King's going to come like get you approach. Like, and that's valid.
Shame-based.
That's not I can't, that does not help me at all. I really need like a gentle touch of just like.
You're like a skittish horse.
I am. Really. It's truly, I have like, it's like the task aversion, whatever. Like if someone's too mean to me about a task, I won't want to do it. So that's very important. And then also just like, it's like this weird combination of like, I need you to be confident in your own approach, but also be willing to accommodate a lot of different types of approaches.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like this needs to be like the podcast writing excuses says like tools, not rules a lot of the times.
Okay.
And I think that's a really good mentality to apply to a lot of these. So with that whole big ramble in there, the 3 books that I picked are, so the first one that I picked is actually kind of maybe I'll start with Writing Down the Bones of Reading the Writer Within. So this one is by Natalie Goldberg. And I think this book is a really good book for kind of like when I was talking about if you don't really consider yourself like a capital W writer and you don't think you're like good at writing. People can't see I'm doing air quotes on an audio podcast, but that's what I'm doing.
They're doing them great.
I feel like I'm doing them verbally. Yeah. And she talks about writing as a practice, like similarly to like writing as a practice in the same vein as like writing as like a meditation practice is a practice. Right. And she talks about, she has different principles for how to apply this and like how to get past those initial barriers. And it really is, she focuses very, very heavily on what like we would call like free writing or automatic writing of just like pencil on the page, don't stop moving it for a specific time, get out as much as you can. Yeah. Like kind of getting past that conscious mind, that analytical mind. I think she follows the things that I laid out. Like she's very kind. Her voice is really fun. I don't know if we have this on our Libby. I'd want to check because I have a few different, I have like some books on band on there, so I don't know. But the one I was listening to is like narrated by Natalie Goldberg herself, like 30 years after she wrote the book, which is really cool. And it's just like, it's a very like kind, loving approach of like, this is how this practice can be useful in your life. This is what this can do for you. Here's how you can get to those like deep topics that you maybe want to analyze. So I would recommend that more for people who are like, I don't know if I want to write. This could be good for me. I maybe want to like a way into it as just like a concrete method to get yourself started on a writing practice.
Right.
That's like based, like it's based pretty heavily in like Zen Buddhism, like that kind of tradition. Sure. So it's like very like meditation, mindfulness focused.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's kind of my recommendation for people who are looking just for like a way to get started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be for me. So thank you.
It's really good. I definitely recommend it. I really like, And like, I won't add, it's going to add a bunch of caveats, but I don't need to do that with every craft book I recommend.
I was going to say, we have the print version and the ebook. We unfortunately don't have the audiobook, but we do have a couple formats.
Need to mention the audiobook. That's something we have access to.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe we'll put in
we can put it. Yeah, we can put in with our collection development team.
I love listening to
She has a really nice voice for it. I like it being read by the author. Yeah. The print book and ebook are also good.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. And then this is one I just finished, so I'm very excited to talk about it. Is Refuse to Be Done by Matt Bell. And I kind of discovered this book because Matt Bell also has a Substack called No Mistakes Only Practice, which is I even just like love that title. It's a really nice way of thinking about writing.
It really encompasses what you were
and that really is genuinely like the situation again. Like this is like there is no mistakes, only practice. But I really like Matt Bell because again, he's very like when I talk about like wanting a teacher who is kind, I also do want a teacher who is craft focused. You know what I mean? And who is like, I actually care very deeply about the quality of what I'm producing. And I think he has both of those at the same time, which can be hard to find. But Refuse to Be Done is a book that is, it pitches itself kind of as a book on how to revise a novel.
Sure.
But I do think like, I would say like a solid 60% of the book is focused on writing the first draft. So I think it's useful for someone who isn't even to that stage yet. And I also think that these revision tools, like I've been using them to revise my short stories and they've been very useful. So even if you don't have like a novel written, which is, I would imagine, just like most people,
right.
I still think that this is a really useful craft book. And what I really like about this, because like we were talking about earlier, like first drafts inherently aren't going to be this like thing. They're not going to be this like thing up on the shelf that is like the kind of books that we have on our, like in our, that we're reading, that we have on our shelves. And this talks about, and there's so many craft books that talk about how to get through a first draft or how to outline. There's so many craft books that talk about outlining. Outlining is like the main thing, I feel like a lot of the times, because it's like easy to give a method for.
Right.
And there's not as many that talk about what does it actually look like to revise a story when you just have this like pile of words and you're like, well, I made this, what do I do with it now? And he actually gives like a very like concrete but flexible approach of like, here are some best practices that you can use. Like, here's how you can get from this to like the second draft. And here's once you have that like more logical shape or like just like shape that actually holds together, here's how you can take that and elevate it even more. And he's very encouraging. I think I wrote down a quote from the book that it's a little bit long, but I can read it if I would love to hear it. I really love that I feel like encompasses why like kind of what I like about the book. So this is from kind of the end of that first section I was talking about with talking about first drafts, and he's gonna quote from a different author really quick. James Smiley helpfully divides the kinds of sentences you write in this exploratory draft into seeds and pebbles, saying, if it's a pebble, it's just the next sentence and it sits there. But if it's a seed, it grows into something that becomes an important part of the life of the novel. The problem is you can't know ahead of time whether a sentence will be a seed or a pebble, or how important a seed it's going to be. You write your way through a field of pebbles looking for seeds. They will be there, hiding among everything else, but the pebbles and the seeds are yours. You made them both by your own wit and ingenuity, by your work ethic and your daily habit, and your refusal to flinch or give up. I forgot to get the rest of the quote in here. That's okay. But I think he says something about like, find your seeds, forgive yourselves for your pebbles. Like, good job. That. You finished. It's more eloquent when I have the full quote. I didn't copy and paste the full thing in there, but I like the way that he talks about first drafts and just like, it's like an acknowledgement of it's hard and it's valuable at the same time.
Sure.
Which I think as teachers you need to hold at the same time. Yeah. Like, this is hard, but like, writers talk all the time about how hard writing is. So I also feel like a little bit we need to uplift. This is also good and valuable. Like this is, a good thing to do.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like that quote is so good for so many things. I mean, you can apply it just across life.
Yeah.
I love it.
And like, you can't know, it can feel like you're wasting your time when you're like coming up with stuff that's not like the most valuable thing. Right. But you have to just do a bunch of it to get those valuable things.
Right.
Great point.
Yeah.
So that's my second recommendation. I also highly recommend his Substack, Refuse to Be No Mistakes, Only Practice. It's another good like online. It's all free.
Yeah,
a lot of good writing exercises on there. So real fun.
Love it.
And then the third one I decided to pull a biography. So for friends who aren't looking to read a craft book, although this is still fairly like I feel like it's still fairly like niche in my interests. It's probably like Positive Obsession by Susanna Morris. This is a biography of Octavia Butler.
Oh wow!
Which like I love Octavia
we're obsessed
Butler.
with her here.
I think I don't know. I think I've done her for like maybe it's either 2 or 3 or 3 out of 3 of my book bashes have had an Octavia Butler reference. So just like
she might have actually been a time traveler because of how much she nailed.
Yeah, she's just very, and they do talk about that too in the book. I think what I love about the biography is both like, yes, this is of Octavia Butler, who I think is like it's like just genuinely like one of the best, not just like science fiction writers, but just like writers that we have. Just like, it's hard not to be hyperbolic about her, but her works are like such a treasure. And then just talking about like what is not only her life, but like what's the context of her life?
Sure.
What does it mean to be a writer that's this talented but growing up like Black and poor and female? Like what does it mean that she had to work like 12-hour shifts and like, you know, like meatpacking plants and stuff and like canning factories before she was able to go home and write? Like what would it look like if we like look at her, we look like a contemporary, a little bit older, but like Ursula K. Le Guin, and just like looking at the difference in how many books they could produce.
Right.
And then also beyond like looking at like look at like what kind of doors did she open for people who came after her? Like how did she transform this field? Like which she really did in like a really revolutionary way. And then also seeing like what forces was she in conversation with in her work? Like how does like the civil rights movement and like Reaganism and like the feminist movement and all, because she was like from a very young age, she was deeply like locked into the news and into like what was happening in our world, which is why her works read is so prophetic. And she was just paying attention to what was happening.
She recognizes patterns. And yeah, absolutely.
And also just like, I don't know, like a really lovely, I think it can be easy with writing to sort of romanticize, or with any kind of art where it's like you romanticize mental illness almost, where you romanticize like the madness of the artist or whatever, which I don't love. But I think this book does a good job of like, what does a positive obsession look like, where it's like you are orienting your life around this thing, to the exclusion of other things for her. But like, where is like the beauty in that? Like what is so like transcendent about this thing for her that she dedicated her life to it, and like what kind of gifts do we get from it? So it's just like it's a very beautifully written biography, very well researched. Just like very, if you like any of Octavia Butler's work, I definitely recommend checking it out. And if you don't, you should definitely read Octavia Butler's work and then, you know, or read the biography.
We agree. We talk about her often.
I literally just put it on my hold while you were talking. I'm like, I am getting this.
No, that's great.
Those were amazing picks. I did like your approach to what you recommend.
Yeah, I had to think of, because I could give infinite craft book. I've read so many craft books.
I bet.
Yeah. I have many opinions.
Yeah. Well, you and I, we talked a little bit off mic of like how we approached this one. I kind of struggled with it, and I ended up only putting one pick on here. But you had like a wider.
I have quite a few that are not my own, but I have.
You sourced.
Yes, I sourced,
and I love that. I'll plug mine because I only have the one because I do want to dedicate more time to your experience with it because I think it's interesting. The only one I put in is actually a book I read in high school, and I was absolutely insufferable about it. But it came to mind immediately when we were going to read this, and that is A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway. If you haven't read it, it is nonfiction. It is a book he wrote about his time, memoir-esque. It's about his time living in Paris with his first wife. They had a young child. He was best friends with F. Scott Fitzgerald and Zelda Fitzgerald. He was going to underground illegal boxing rings. And like it was him before he was like famous but doing the work, like writing and being part of the practice. I remember in high school taking a lot from it of just like what it looked like to seize life and like seize the moment in very small ways, especially when you think of the impact that he had in literature over the course of his life, and also how we talk about like the torture of the artist. I mean, he really was, and like what ended up happening in his own personal life. I would love to. This is a book that I do intend to reread now in adulthood if I would see it through different eyes. But I remember at the time of being somebody who did like writing and thought maybe they would be like a writer later on. I got a lot from this book. I felt like there were a lot of like little quotes and things that I really connected with. So I look forward to reading again with adult eyes and finding out that I look at it maybe a little differently. I think it'll be kind of like a fun experience. Yeah. I'll bring it for you. I have it.
Oh, you do bring me books to read. So thank you.
Amy, tell me about your experience with this, though, because you had a really interesting approach. It kind of just fell in your lap a little bit. You didn't plan it that way.
No, I didn't. Yeah. But I went to go see the Broadway show 6 last night and was going with a couple of friends, another Maggie and Amy.
I love that.
Hilarious. And they're both writers.
Yeah.
And mostly write poetry, each of them. And one of them actually has a writers group. And it was so interesting. So I actually said, I'm doing a podcast tomorrow and I'm feeling very challenged by it because I don't know. I mean, I think I actually I didn't know how I was going to approach it, but I wanted to hear their story and like what they said, because I thought that would be a really interesting thing for me to listen to. And Megan, I really love hearing how you approach it and how you suggest that people like think about writing and that it's not precious, because that I literally hold that all the time. And I think the only way through me ever picking up a practice is doing automatic writing, just like writing. I don't care what it is. Maggie, my other Maggie, the first one and she taught English composition years ago, and she said one of her treasures is Stephen King's On Writing, a memoir of the craft by the lovely Stephen King, which is one of Angel's favorite authors.
Yes,
I always
absolutely.
think about that. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait.
Same. I always
talked to Angela about this book. Yeah. Angela from Libroteca, and also we just dropped a podcast. She was our guest last week,
and also our
week before.
Just our friend Angela.
Yes, our friend Angela. And she just said it was such a great book, and she was kind of talking. Have you read this book? I'm curious.
I read it in I think I need to reread it because I read it in high school.
Yeah,
and I haven't read it since then. Yeah. And I need to give it another go. I think.
So Megan, I would be like, have you read that one? Have you read that one? Have you read that one? But the first one that you mentioned, they actually, Writing Down the Bones, Natalie Goldberg, they said was also phenomenal. And all of the ones that they actually talked about was really great. And they also talked about a poetry handbook, since they're both poets, by Mary Oliver. And I also feel like poetry is really interesting to me, because I also felt like it's super, super precious. But then you get exposed to Nebraska Writers Collective and how they approach poetry and just how stories really relatable stories can come out of like poetry. Yeah. And I love that. So, and I feel like I've been delighted by so many poetry readings just in and around Omaha, and how amazed I am by the talent here, and I love it. But I love the idea of poetry, like using that as a way to storytell, like even your life. And one of the things that the other Amy said, which I was like, oh, of course, she's like, there's a whole like you could just write poetry from lists. And I was like, I love lists. And she's like, yeah, it's an ode, an ode to this, an ode to that, which made me think of Pablo Neruda, who's like Ode to a Salt Shaker, or whatever it was from years ago. But I really actually want to read a book about the craft of poetry, because I think that would help me dismantle that it's such a really complicated. There's so many forms and things about poetry that I actually don't understand, because I never probably took, maybe I did take poetry, but I forgot all about it because it was so complicated that I was like, no, too hard. My other Maggie was like, I wish they would teach folks in school, like junior high, high school, whatever, all the schools, more relatable poems and poetry and how it can work before you get to the Emersons and
build your way up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting. And so Amy, not me, Amy, one of the ones that she really loved was, which I didn't know this was a book by Ted Kuzer, was the Poetry Home Repair Manual.
Oh my gosh.
I love that name. Practical advice for beginning poets. And I was like, oh, and she said, I can't remember actually exactly what she said about that, but she said there was something so valuable just out of that book that really changed the way that she wrote poetry. And I thought that was really interesting. And the other thing that she talked about too, Megan, I'm super curious, I'm going to ask you this question, is that the way just sentence construction, and both of them are really like I like to play with sentences and words, and like how can I make this less, and by making it less, I'm actually making the sentence more powerful. And because with this play, they both read fiction. So she's like, Amy was basically like, you'll never read the same, because you'll see something that either you're like, whoa, that is like, you love that and you're inspired. She said, it's like I'm a crow taking these little bits and pieces of delights throughout this book and like want to channel it in my own, and inspired by through her own writing process. On the same vein, she's also like, she gets mad about some of the writing too. So she just writers probably see writing, like reading, it feels different than probably the rest of us who don't actually have a writing practice. And would you concur?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's both like, reading has both become a lot richer and more lovely.
Right.
I'll like see like I just finished reading Dazzle of the Day by Molly Glass.
Yeah.
Which is this beautiful science fiction, like it's like Quakers on a generation ship going to a different planet, and it's just like some of the most beautiful sentence construction I've read in a long time.
Yeah.
Something I'll do is like a writing exercise is like I'll take a sentence and then I'll look at it and I will rewrite the sentence using the same, like replacing all the verbs with different verbs and all the nouns, different nouns and all the articles, and
fun.
Keeping the structure.
Yeah.
To really analyze and break down like what is a sentence doing on a structural level?
That's fascinating.
But then also like I am kind of insufferable about a lot of books. And like I'm a very, very big, like a book abandoner. Like a book will do something super minor where I'm like,
I'm done with you.
You're DNR'd.
Yeah, just like extremely petty.
Right.
And it's like, okay. And it's like, I think it would make it harder to find book recommendations if I didn't like work or to find books to read. But thankfully I work at a library and I'm like, this is literally an infinite resource.
Yeah.
And I have like, there's so many ways to find good books that it's like, it's fine. But I definitely like when I first was getting into the writing craft, I was hitting a little bit of a slump because I'm like, I see what you're doing. And I'm like, I don't know, like, could we, because the sentence construction just be a little bit better.
Right.
Which again, I know how I sound as I'm saying that.
Right.
Like, but like, it does happen.
Right.
You might become, it is a risk. You might become a little bit of an insufferable nerd about language, but it's also really fun. And it makes reading really rich.
You have a great nerdy time doing it.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
No, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the last books, I mean, it was like, I know it's Elements of Style by William Strunk. Just like the basic, like understanding the construction of the sentence is super valuable. And I grew up with comma drama. So where does that comma go? I don't know.
I saw something. Just sparked a meme I saw recently because I've been public on the podcast that I am adult diagnosed ADHD, and it tracks so much through my childhood. But I love they made the point of like, I have ADHD, and so I use parentheses a lot, and then in parentheses they wrote because every thought comes with bonus content, and that's absolutely how I feel.
I love that.
I use them a lot.
Another non-book resource. Actually, okay, I have so many things. Okay, first, before I forget, I was going to recommend for grammar stuff. And this is another one where we need to look up and see if we have this in the collection, because I'm reading this on the Internet Archive right now, so I actually don't know if it's in our collection or not. And I also don't remember the author's name, so I'll have to send it to you. But it's Style as Syntax. And this is one...
Style as Syntax?
Style as Syntax, I think. I'll send it to you.
I love that.
This one is for... This is not one I would put on like a book list or like even as my 3 recommendations, because it is kind of like,
we put everything in this.
It is. Yeah, I do recommend it to people. It is fairly like it's getting in depth with the way that sentences are constructed in a way that I really like, but it also is so like in depth and nerdy. It's very fun, but I have described it as like, this is really fun for like insane people. Like if you're getting really insane about the way that's like level sentences are constructed.
Yeah.
But she goes through like all of the different sentence types, and I haven't even gotten through like the first full section on it, where she's just all she's talking about is short sentences right now. But she talks about like short sentences with to be verbs, and short sentences with linking verbs, and short sentences with transitives and transitives. And what I like about this is it's both like a breakdown of grammar basics in a way I'm having to relearn grammar basics in a way that I need to straight up, because I like I'm just like, I don't know where punctuation goes, and I need to make the writing good. You have to have those tools, and I don't have them as much as I would like. Because I also did reread like Elements of Style recently, and like I'll reference that, but this one's nice too because it places it in the context of like, what are these sentences good for? Right. What is a short like passive, like if you're like, this is like she is this, which normally we're like, oh, don't use be verbs, and don't use the passive voice. But this author's like, when does this work? Like when does this?
We
work?
have it
How
for
do
a
you use
reason.
this? Like, which has been really, really cool. It feels sort of like breaking language apart and like looking at its like innards and like seeing how it works.
Right.
I was gonna say we don't have it in the collection, but we'll give it to collection processing. And it is Artful Sentences, Syntax as Style by Virginia Tufte.
Yeah,
I believe.
And I got that recommendation from reading Refused to Be Done by Matt Bell. That was okay. So it's kind of a fun branching thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
But wow. I love it.
Yeah. So if you can't find it in our collection, it is also on the Internet Archive, which I think is I think that's legal, so it's fine to say.
Right.
It's fine.
Well, those were. Did you have?
No.
Do we have time for one more?
Yes, please. Always.
So this is. I literally I did a PowerPoint presentation on writing the other day with my friends, and I have a meme in there about how I never shut up about this podcast. And I recommend it to everyone.
Yeah.
But my final tool / resource recommendation is the podcast is called Death of a Thousand Cuts by Tim Clare. And the specific thing I am recommending from that is the 100-day writing challenge. And what that does, it really, I think this is sort of doing this challenge is what got me from being oh man, I want to write. I care a lot about writing. I don't know how to get started. I'll set unrealistic, ambitious goals and then be mad at myself when I don't meet them to I actually do write every day. And it is actually a really important self-care, just practice that I have.
Sure.
And what he does is it's 100 days, and every day he gives you a 10-minute challenge. And a lot of them are lists. It's the first challenge is just write a list of names. And then he also does a lot of free writing, automatic writing, where it's just for 10 minutes you're going to write. And what I love is he is super encouraging.
Yeah.
He wasn't diagnosed at the time, although I feel you can maybe pick up on some vibes, but he does have ADHD and autism, so it's I think it's really accessible for neurodivergent writers, and talking about what are the barriers with kind of that task aversion, I care so much about this has become too scary for me to do.
Right.
But also on top of it, just that kindness and the at the end of every episode, he's good job, good job, you've written today, that's awesome.
It's very encouraging.
Right.
But it's also just I definitely got to be a better writer just by doing these challenges, because he's thinking a lot about the skills you want to get as a writer. So I recommend it to everyone.
It's a good one.
It's a really good. I think it's sometimes easier to start a practice when you have an external structure, and this is a really nice, accessible external structure to kind of pin stuff onto.
Yeah.
I looked at the podcast while you were talking about it, and the photo that pops up for it is him with his fist raised. Yeah. Looks like he's screaming. So that really connected.
It is 10 minutes a day. He's said with so much love, very rambly, which again makes sense. And I like the rambles, but just know you probably set aside more than 10 minutes total because you got to listen to him.
Okay.
But they're useful talks.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. Good resources.
I have so many tools now to activate.
I'm being very restrained. I have.
You gave a wealth of resources. Yeah. I was going to say too, if there's anything that you didn't talk about, but you're oh my God, I would love people had this, still send it to us because we can put it in our little supporting docs.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, we also need to plug, though, before we wrap things up too much, our question of the month. So if you've been following along, we no longer do Query of the Week. We do Query of the Month to give people more time to get our answers in. And it's the end of the month, or rather the beginning of May, I believe, actually, when this drops. So we're going to wrap up our question for this month, which was, what are you planting or planning to plant? Megan, would you like to read these with us, do you think? Do you want to kick off the first one?
Yeah. Sherry N on Facebook says, I got 2 packages of tomato seeds from the South Omaha branch. They are 2 of my favorites. One is an Amish paste and the other is called Brandywine. I will be starting them in a few weeks. It's a great program and all gardeners should take advantage of it.
Yeah, thanks, Sherry. We have the Common Soil Seed Library. You can get seeds the same way you do books, but you don't have to bring them back, and you can get 15 packets a month.
Yeah.
We love it.
Love it.
Next, we have tomato plants from Andrea W. from Facebook. Tomatoes are popular.
I love it. I love tomatoes. You can bring me all the tomatoes. I'll eat them.
I love that for you.
They're also easy to keep alive.
Yes.
Not for me. I'm a tomato failure. So that's why I need everybody to bring me tomatoes.
Yeah, there we go.
When you start growing them. Renee M. said, already planted peppers, basil, and cat grass along with beans for a kindergarten science project.
Cute.
Cat grass.
I've never even heard of that.
I'm going to
find out.
Mm-hmm.
Emily E. says, I always look forward to our English cucumbers. They produce like crazy and they're so yummy. I have one every day in the summer.
I love that.
I do love them.
Lynn S. says, ground cherries, Aunt Molly's Polish heirloom variety.
Yeah, that sounds
fascinating. That sounds amazing. I don't know what that is, but it sounds delicious.
I know. And Renee M. said, planted zinnias from seed for the first time last year and love them. Looking forward to planting more. I also love zinnias.
Yes, they're very popular.
Tanya says, thyme.
Very simple. Love it. Laura Kay said celery, eggplant, snap peas, and beets, all from the Common Soil Seed Library. Yeah.
Love it. And another Laura said, I have a large planter that I'm going to use just for mint this year. I'm so excited. Keep
Godspeed.
it in that planter.
Keep it in that plant.
Mint loves to spread.
Mm-hmm. Shares love.
And Michelle C says, I'm looking forward to planting canna lily bulbs in May to keep the butterflies and hummingbirds in my yard.
Amazing.
They do. Hummingbirds do love that.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And I love hummingbirds.
Yeah, me too.
So love to hear what everybody's planting. If you do grow too much and you would like to bring some to the library, we would love to have it. Specifically tomatoes, apparently, for Amy.
Yes, please. Yeah. Bring me all your tomatoes.
There we go. She's like a crow.
We're going to have so many tomatoes.
I know. Seriously.
It's going to be a problem. It'll be like, we have way too many tomatoes at Central now.
Yeah. I will eat them.
There you go.
Day and night.
It'll be a tomato party.
It will be.
Yeah. Our question for next month, if you would like to participate with us, is going to be, give us your favorite library memory or moment. This is going to be in celebration of, I know our producer always tells us stop touching the table because it makes so much noise, but we're going to make noise right now because the Central Library opening date is coming.
April 19th.
April 19th. If you forgot, it's a Sunday. Please come see us. So in celebration of that, our query for the month of April is, give us your favorite library memory or moment. I can't wait to hear what people say.
Oh, me too.
I think I'll have some good ones.
Love it.
Megan, thank you so much for joining us today. This was a wonderful, in-depth challenge. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad we had you with us because you have such a
genuinely talk about writing for forever. It's great.
If you ever submit another challenge, you got to come back on.
I will.
Absolutely. We got to come. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. You can't see us right now. We all put our hands under our chins. Amy's doing a heart.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know either. Bye.
Bye.
Every book, resource, or thing that we mentioned that we can link to on the internet can be found in list form in our episode description. So if you missed something we talked about, check out that list.
The Book Drop is produced by Omaha Public Library. Our theme music is Trapped in Amber, courtesy of the band Lucid Fugue. Don't forget to subscribe to The Book Drop on your favorite podcast app and like and follow Omaha Public Library on social media.